Cartoons have been a key part of entertainment since the beginning of the 20th century, when you could only see them in the funny papers. But then, cartoons would be shown in movie theaters in the 20s, the 30s, and the 1940s, until in the 1950s, many people would watch cartoons on television when they became mainstream. Cartoons were aired in the mornings before school and aired again after school before cable television existed. On Saturday mornings, kids would enjoy watching their favorite cartoons all morning until 12 p.m. when they would have to go to the park, visit a family member, visit a friend, go to the movies, etc. Sometimes, cartoons would air on Sunday mornings. Unfortunately, most kids would miss them because they had to go to church. But there was one network that launched in 1992 that aired cartoons 24/7, and it would change the way many people saw cartoons forever. Whether you were a child in the 90s and the 2000s with Cartoon Fridays and Toonami, whether you were an early, mid, or late teen in the 2000s enjoying the network's late night segment Adult Swim, whether you were a child in the 2010s with Adventure Time, Amazing World of Gumball, and the crown jewel, Steven Universe, to nothing more than marathons of Teen Titans Go and reruns of old cartoons, then this is what we will talk about. This is the rise and fall of Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network.
The concept for this network first started in 1986, when Turner Broadcasting System acquired Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer United Artists from Kirk Kerkorian, due to concerns over the debt load of his companies on August 26, 1986. Turner was forced to sell MGM UA back to Kerkorian after approximately only 75 days of ownership. However, Turner kept much of MGM's film and television library made before May 1986 and formed Turner Entertainment Company. On October 3, 1988, TNT was launched and had gained an audience with its extensive film library. At this time, Turner's animation library included the MGM Cartoon Library, the pre-1948 color Looney Tunes and Merry Melody shorts, the harmonizing Merry Melody shorts, and the Fleischer Studios / Famous Studios Popeye cartoons. 3 years later, Turner beat out the bidders including MCA Inc. and Hallmark Cards when it made a deal to purchase the library of animation studio Hanna-Barbera for $320 million. Ted Turner selected Betty Cohen, then Senior Vice President of TNT, to devise a network that would house these programs. Many names were proposed for the channel, such as Toon City, Toon TV, Turner Toons, Toon Alley, The Cartoon Channel, and Cartoonia, before deciding on Cartoon Network. On February 18, 1992, Turner Broadcasting announced its plans to launch Cartoon Network as an outlet for Turner's considerable library of animation. Long ago, before Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, and YouTube ever existed, there was cable television. In the 80s and 90s, when people wanted music, there was MTV, VH1, and BET. When people wanted sports, there was ESPN. When people wanted to learn about science, nature, and history, there were the Discovery Channel, National Geographic, and the History Channel. If they wanted to see a movie, they had HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, and Starz. And if people were into video games and technology, there was G4 TV. They were all popular, but as time went by, they all lost their identity and their popularity along with it. There were also networks on cable TV for children such as Nickelodeon, which launched in 1977, and the Disney Channel arrived in 1983. Both channels had cartoons and live-action TV shows aimed at children. But then, there was one channel that was cartoons 24/7 and launched in 1992 and would change the way people would see cartoons forever. That channel was none other than Cartoon Network, and cartoons would never be seen the same way ever again after the network launch. The network launched in a super artistic way by playing Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture. The channel was first launched on October 1st, 1992, and since then it became an iconic channel for those who love watching cartoons. The first cartoon on the network was called Rhapsody Rabbit. The initial programming of Cartoon Network consisted of reruns of Warner Bros. Cartoons, Popeye cartoons, MGM cartoons, and Hanna-Barbera cartoons. At first, cable providers in Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, Cincinnati, Columbus, Los Angeles, Miami, New York City, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Dallas, and Detroit carried the channel. By the time the network launched, Cartoon Network had an 8,500-hour cartoon library. From its launch until 1995, the network's announcer said the network's name with the word "the" added before Cartoon Network, thus calling it the Cartoon Network. Cartoon Network was not the first cable channel to rely on cartoons to attract an audience, however. It was the first 24-hour single-genre channel with animation as its main theme. This channel initially would broadcast cartoons 24/7. Most of the short cartoons were aired in half-hour or hour-long packages, usually separated by character or studio. Down with Droopy D aired old Droopy Dog shorts, The Tom and Jerry Show presented the classic Cat and Mouse team, and Bugs and Daffy Tonight provided classic Looney Tunes shorts. Late Night Black and White showed early black and white cartoons, and Toonheads would show 3 shorts with a similar theme and provide trivia about the cartoons. There was also an afternoon cartoon block called High Noon Tunes, which was hosted by Cowboy Hand Puppets. The majority of the classic animation that was shown on Cartoon Network no longer airs on a regular basis, but Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes continued to air up until 2017. In 1993, Cartoon Network had its very first exclusive show titled The Moxie Show, an animation anthology series. This cartoon was created out of the network's desire for an animated host that could be aired live. By the end of 1994, Cartoon Network had become the 5th most popular cable channel in the United States. In 1995, Cartoon Network would truly begin to shine. Its golden era had begun. In 1994, the network founded Cartoon Network Studios and started production on What a Cartoon, also known as World Premiere Toons. This show debuted in 1995, offering original animated shorts commissioned from Hanna-Barbera and various independent animators. The network promoted the series as an attempt to return to the classic days of studio animation, offering full animator control, high budgets, and no limited animation. The project was spearheaded by Cartoon Network executives John Kricfalusi and Fred Seibert. Kricfalusi was a creator of the Ren and Stimpy show and served as an advisor to the network, while Seibert was formerly one of the driving forces behind Nickelodeon's Nicktoons and would go on to produce the similar animation anthology series Oh Yeah Cartoons and Random Cartoons. What a Cartoon had a series of shorts that many people loved, but there were shorts that became cartoon series such as Johnny Bravo, Cow and Chicken, Dexter's Laboratory, I Am Weasel, The Powerpuff Girls, Courage the Cowardly Dog, and Mike, Lou and Og. The unrelated series Ed, Edd and Eddy also premiered in 1999, creating a lineup of critically acclaimed shows. Many of these series premiered bearing the Cartoons brand, airing throughout the network's schedule and prominently on Cartoon Fridays, which became the marquee night for premieres of new episodes and series beginning on June 11, 1999. There were also very popular shows in the mid-1990s such as Two Stupid Dogs and SWAT Kats, The Radical Squadron. These original series were intended to appeal to a wider audience than the average Saturday morning cartoon. Linda Szymanski, Vice President of Original Animation, reminded adults and teenage girls that cartoons could appeal to them as well. Kevin Sandler's article of them claimed that these cartoons were both less bawdy than their counterparts at Comedy Central and less socially responsible than their counterparts at Nickelodeon. Sandler pointed to the whimsical rebelliousness, high rate of exaggeration, and self-consciousness of the overall output each individual series managed.